Shaky, shaky, sweaty, sweaty, you make my spaghetti ready. I mean, the music video is quite something. I don't know what the hell it sounds like. This is a ridiculous song. Welcome back. Electric Callboy is a band who I only really became acquainted with 2 or 3 years ago, basically around the time of the release of this album, Tekkno. I think that's probably true for a lot of people. I feel like they really, after several albums, really exploding with this one, and for good reason. It's quite a lot of fun. So I thought this would make an interesting one to talk about. This will be, in terms of album review deep dives, this will be the most recent album that I've covered. My history with this band, but quite obviously, is much more limited than the other artists I've spoken about. Tekkno by Electric Callboy was released on the 16th of September 2022. It's 30 minutes and 35 seconds. It's the latest album to date. I'm quite looking forward to whatever they decide to put out next, and I think we're kind of due an album, hopefully this year, I don't know. It had 5 singles, being We Got the Moves, Pump It, Spaceman, Fckboi, and Hurrikan. And all of those are quite a varied selection of songs off such a short album, partly because there's a lot of stuff crammed into this very short album. Tekkno has been described as metalcore, pop, electro, alternative rock, electronica, synth pop, and pop metal. There's a lot of poppy pop in that. I mean, in terms of metalcore, it's pretty poppy. Yeah, definitely. And as you may know, if you've been watching this channel for a little bit, you'll know that metalcore is not one of my favorite styles of music. I mean, I do like it, it's just a lot of it all sounds very samey, and very few artists stand out from the crowd. But, perfect example, this album really stands out from anything I'd really heard before. A friend of mine, Fckboi, introduced me to this band, so shout out Fckboi. And he described them as kind of Rammstein, but sillier and heavier, which in a very short description I think is pretty accurate. I wasn't impressed at first, because while I do appreciate music that doesn't take itself very seriously, they seemed like they were going a little bit overboard with the silliness, especially in their music videos, which we'll get to. And then I pulled my head out of my ass and I'm like, no, this is actually really fun and funny and good and heavy as well. Very quickly became a big fan. And they very, very quickly rose to the top of my list of bands that I really need to see live, because they look like a lot of fun live. Big, high energy gigs, lots of smiles, lots of fun, but still, you know, mosh pits and stuff, which is exactly what I'm there for. The members of Electric Callboy, I'm going to hopefully get these right. Kevin Ratajczak, hopefully, on vocals, keyboards and production. Nikos Stalak on vocals, Daniel Hanis on guitar, production and mixing, Pascal Shilo on guitar and production, Daniel Klosek on bass guitar and backing vocals, and David Friedrich on drums. Hopefully those were all pronounced correctly. The new addition to the band, being Nikos Stalak, is really what I feel like propelled Electric Callboy into the mainstream, because this was his first album, and all of a sudden this album explodes. So he clearly was a good choice for the band, I think. His voice is very recognizable, and if it was just the other vocalists just doing screams all the time, I don't know if I'd be as into it as I am. But his voice is really, like, charming and fits in really well and makes the choruses really soar. And again, there's a lot of colour in this album. Like, I hear colour, I don't know if that's just me. It's just constant colour all the way through this album. and different shifts and changes and vibes and energies. It never gets repetitive. There are a few songs that are similar, but the choruses and the melodies all stand out really, really well, and you never confuse one song for another one. Some people would probably see this as just musical vomit, but this is exactly what I am here for with metalcore, at least. The album did pretty well, but kind of a mixed response as well. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Pump It. One thing I've mentioned about songwriting, and this is not a quote from me, but this is just something I happen to very much agree with. If in the first 3 seconds of the song that you've written, the listener can already hear the rest of the song, you've smashed it. Like, you've done exactly what songwriting is. And this song is no different. As soon as it starts up, I mean, it's got that kind of modern structure where it's starting with the chorus, like the melody and the vocals from the chorus just to tease what's coming. Because, you know, people these days with streaming services, if you don't grab their attention in the first 5 seconds, they're going to move on to something else, which I don't understand. People grow an attention span, for God's sake. Immediately you can tell this is from Germany, or at least Europe. I don't think America really makes music that sounds like this. There's such a, like, mid-2000s kind of Eurodance, cheesy, like, Darude style synth in this, like, already, immediately. Yeah, very, very, very German. It's very smart that they put this at track 1, because if I am in the gym and I can't think of what I want to listen to, this is kind of one of my go-to songs as like a default, and with good reason. And so when I start this song, because it's quite short, it's less than 3 minutes long, at that point I'm engaged, and I basically just listen to the whole album through. So it's a really smart decision, because there's a lot of people go to the gym, and a lot of people listen to music in the gym, and if they, I mean, the music video. I wanna feel it day and night, my workout, my delight. If you manage to make people just think of this song as a default song for the gym, then you're gonna get people listening to your album. Very clever. Yeah, and having the music video literally be people in the gym, admittedly in a very cheesy, tongue-in-cheek way. Once you watch that video, it does kind of stick in your mind. And, you know, the song's going on, you know, pump it. Pump it. It's very clear what the song's intention is, and it succeeds. And such an infectious melody. Such an infectious chorus. Everything about this song is so earwormy, and well produced, and thick, and chunky, and very, very modern production. Obviously, it came out like 3 years ago now. And yeah, the music video, I think this was one of the things that at first I was like, okay, this is a bit much. This is going beyond tongue-in-cheek to the point where the tongue has gone through the cheek and is going into the other room. This is ridiculous. And like I said earlier, it quickly turned into, okay, now I'm over that initial shock value of the silliness. I'm really into this. I really enjoy it. Someone might perceive this as being a mockery of going to the gym or something. No, absolutely not. This is just, I don't even know if they themselves go to the gym. They don't look like gym bros particularly, but it's a good theme for a song, and I think the song is excellent. Brilliant first track. We got the moves. Summer mood, hot sand under my feet. Cold beer, cheap wine, yeah, that's all that we need. We do it again. We got the moves. We got the moves. When everybody's right, yesterday we drank too much. We're young, we're free. Sipping on booze on the sunny beach. Yesterday we drank too much, let's do it again. I've been in that situation so many times. And that feeling of, like, you know, you wake up home or your friend's place and everyone's like, you know, every sofa is full of people passed out. And then gradually, one by one, you all start waking up and it's like, wow, we all feel like crap. And we all know what the solution to that is. Drink more. That feeling of, like, 2-day hangover, drunk delirium is something that shouldn't be enjoyable, but for whatever reason it is to me, and this song makes me think of that feeling. This album has no chill. It doesn't mess about for the most part. 30 seconds in, we're already straight into the chorus on the second song. I like music that gets to the point these days, and because it keeps me listening. I know there's nothing to skip, and so I can just put my phone down and not have to worry about it. Very good, this album, for that. And it's not an easy task to make something heavy and like fun and upbeat and melodic at the same time. That's not easy. With this album, they've basically made that their signature thing. I'm here for it entirely. The point at 1 minute 55, where there's the da 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 da. That's why I need to go and see them live. That's one of the reasons why I need to go and see them live, is because I want to be in that crowd chanting that. And the beat that comes in, the kind of hardstyle beat, is unironically heavy as balls. And then straight into a pretty insane breakdown. Very creative. And then immediately after that, going into really nice, clean vocals. It's all over the place, but all structured and fit together brilliantly. Yeah, every melody in both of these songs already are so perfect. They're simple. There's nothing technically, musically mind-blowing, but it's just the right amount of everything, I think. Fckboi.
I know that I don't have any good reputation. Yeah, everybody thinks that I'm just a fuckboy. It's just stay in my head where red is free, and your command maybe hits it freely.
This is the first song where, after I listened to the album several times, this was the first one that I didn't really enjoy that much. To me, it sounded a little too much like Blink-182, like modern Blink-182. I've got a soft spot for Blink-182 from the past, but modern Blink-182, no. Of all the songs on this album, this is probably the one I've listened to the least, just because I do tend to skip it, or I used to. Now I'm at a point where I'm okay with it. It took a long time for this song to work for me. I think it's smart as well on the third song having a guest vocalist, being a female guest vocalist as well. I think that's a smart choice to, you know, mix it up a bit and just to go, hey, you think you know what's coming? Ah, no, you actually don't. I even the kind of hip hop trap beat thing towards the end of the song, I really didn't like that. That was one of the big things in the song that really bothered me about it. But even now, I even like that bit. I've accepted it.
I don't care what they say, 'cause I need you to stay. Yeah, I want you so bad.
Still not one of my favorite songs, but I don't hate it. Spaceman.
I'm a spaceman, got a rocket on my back. Spaceman, oh, I'm raving like a maniac.
Dreht vorm Jupiter, steht vorm Supermarkt, dreht die Boombox an und geht zu Scooter.
Because of the age that I am, calling a song Spaceman will always remind me of this song. But obviously this song, Spaceman by Electric Callboy, is quite different. Again, incredibly catchy. All of the melodies in this album are so catchy and so well put together. Does this word mean anything to you? Donk?
You know what you want to do with that, right? You want to put a banging donk on it.
I'm going to call it the donk in this song is very welcome to me, because it felt like a huge thing for a very brief moment in the early 2010s, I want to say, late 2000s, that was like, it was everywhere and then it was gone. So it's like a little time capsule, that style of music, and bringing it back in this, I'm like, whoa, I'd kind of forgotten that style of music even existed. So thank you, Electric Callboy, for that. That did apparently need to be brought back in my memory. The first track with some German in it. And as you may know about me, I really like German, so I'm always here for the sound of German as like a feature, let's say. I know we're only at track 4, But I'm starting to feel like the breakdowns in their songs are actually the least remarkable parts, not to say the weakest parts. I really enjoy all the melodies and the silliness and the electronic parts in this. And the breakdowns, sort of like with guitar solos in the early 2000s, they feel a little bit dated at this point, kind of predictable, and you know, it's like mandatory almost in metalcore to have a breakdown section. Like you can't not do it, so where's it going to be? Oh, there it is. Do you know what I mean? I don't dislike them. They're heavy. There's a lot of interesting elements on this album and kind of non-original things mashed together to make it something original, if that makes sense. And breakdowns, I feel like, are the least original sections of these songs, but I still enjoy them. Mind Reader.
You're like a bad twin of an eye, when there never really was a you and me. Damn, if I wanna how I feel for you, figure it out, 'cause you're mind reader. You have to drop a patch, everybody knows it. Won't wanna cut my songs out of your way.
This feels like the most serious song that we've heard so far, and actually talking about a topic that I can very much relate to, you know, in relationships. Specifically, I'm talking about with women. Every man knows that their girlfriend can read their mind. It's not a meme, it's not a joke, it's not a cliche. They actually can look into your brain from outside and figure out what you're thinking, right? Guys, we all know this. I found this song very relatable. And it was quite serious, and I was going through some relatively serious relationship-y stuff at the time, and so I'm like, yeah, I should send this song to a very specific person. I don't know if I ever did. Yeah, I like it. I like the serious energy after the 4 jokey songs we've just had. And the synthy break elements, where there's just the synths and it sounds like a female voice, but it could also be a synth, I don't know. That does remind me of Rammstein a little bit. It does sound a bit Rammstein-y, but you know, it makes sense. Similar-ish style of music. They're both from Germany. It's got to be something in their blood, I guess. Yeah, I really like Mind Reader. It's like I said, it's a welcome, slightly serious change of pace, or change of tone, I should say. Arrow of Love. This song is, at first, if you're not paying attention to the lyrics, it's like another song, but you quickly realize that the lyrics are so contrasting to the sound of the song and the way they're delivered. Because, you know, he's going on about, I want to share my love with everyone and nice times and la 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 la, whilst screaming it in your face. It's an interesting take on pop music lyric delivery. Probably one of my least favourite songs on the album. With what we've already heard, it doesn't do anything that I feel like the other songs haven't already done better. This does sort of feel a bit like filler. I still like it, but not one of my favourites. I do like the progression of it. We never stop to believe in magic, all that thing at the end. I like that. That's kind of new. We haven't really heard that, but I don't know. I think the next song is much better. Parasite. Epic chorus in Parasite. This could just be me, but this song reminds me a little bit of late era mindless self-indulgence. There is a little bit of mindless self-indulgence scattered throughout this album, which is probably one of the reasons why I like it, and why it isn't completely overboard and jarring to me, because if I can get down with mindless self-indulgence, Electric Callboy's not as weird, I think. And I do love I'm guessing it's a homage to the synth in the song from the Blade soundtrack. terrible movie from the early 2000s. Everyone loves that song. It can't just be a coincidence that the synth sound is very similar, but even the notation in it is also quite similar. I'm sure that's a nod to that, it's gotta be. One of the heavier breakdowns on the album, I think. It feels like a less copy-paste and standard structure breakdown. There is actually a little bit that goes on in it to vary it up a bit, but I still think the chorus in the song overshadows the breakdown, in my opinion. There's a lot more energy in it. I like the tone of it. Again, it's a little more serious, this song. It's a nice balance, I think. So far on the album, there's a nice balance of silly and serious songs. If they were all completely clowning around every single time, it would get very exhausting and obnoxious. But Mind Reader and Parasite are kind of bringing it back to some kind of level plane, I think. Tekkno Train.
Take a ride on the Tekkno Train ride. No, take your seat, open up, feel the pounding bass deep inside. When it's getting messy, we're taking the blood. There is a whole new world that you need to explore. It's the sound of the rain that you're having.
Tekkno Train, I think, could be my favourite song on the album. Shaky, shaky, sweaty, sweaty, you make my spaghetti ready.
Shaky, shaky, sweaty, sweaty, you make my spaghetti ready.
Love it. Again, another amazing chorus. So catchy, this chorus. And yes, it is quite silly, but just the right amount of silly, I think. And the concept of a techno train is very cool. Who wouldn't want to go on a train that just plays techno the whole time? In the right context, obviously. I think this is my favourite breakdown on the album, based on the fact that I've heard so many times, and I'm sure it's not just me, but I've heard, you know, death metal vocalists particularly being like, they're obviously saying something, but it's so distorted and so, I don't know. It's hard to tell what they're saying. For him to lean in to that exact sound and then turn it into the sound of a train, like an old steam train. Brilliant. That must have just been a random idea they had in the studio, and it's like, okay, yeah, we need to do that, we just need to figure out where we're gonna fit that in. I love it, it's so silly. Hurrikan.
Wenn ich all die Bilder sehe, dann denk ich nur an dich. Du bist wie ein Hurrikan, der sich durch mein Leben zieht. Ich kann dir niemals wieder entkommen.
I remember my friend Escro showing me the music video to this. Without context, I just went round to his place, we were having a few beers or something. He wasn't even like, let me show you this thing. I think he just put it on. I'm like, what is this? This looks like it was recorded this year, but it sounds like it's from the early 2000s and it's like German pop music, and then it suddenly shifts. Okay, yeah, I can see why you showed me this. I mean, the music video is quite something. The song, it's good that they made it so short, because it's 1 minute and 40 seconds. And I do like how it starts off one way and then completely shifts into the most brutal section of the entire album. That's good. But if they'd then gone back to the, you know, as they have been on this album, where it's like melodic part, heavy part, melodic part, heavy part, breakdown, variation, blah, blah, blah. They didn't do that on this song, and I think that was very smart, because the first bit of the song is kind of annoying. It's great, it's charming, but it is kind of annoying. And I'm glad that once the heavy bit is over, that's it. It just like it cuts off, and that's it. Moving on to the next song, and it does it very quickly and weirdly fits together. I don't know how. It doesn't sound like two different songs. It sounds like I don't know what the hell it sounds like. This is a ridiculous song. But yeah, moving on to the last song, Neon.
First sight, hard crush, your touch. We were ready to fly. We were nothing but close to the sky. But I love to thank you for the memories we.
This song to me as soon as I heard it the first time, immediately made me think of like mid-career Linkin Park, like something off Living Things.
Building it up to bring it back down.
Very similar to that, in a good way, because I do quite like that album. But I've never been able to unhear that similarity. Nico Selleck has an amazing voice, and he's shown that on this album, but I feel like on this song is where he really goes hog wild with his singing. He's outstanding. They cannot get rid of him now. He's now the sound of this band, I think. This might be one of my other favourite songs on the album. I know it wasn't a single, I don't believe it has a music video, but there's something about this song that really, again, it's one of the ones that's a little more taking itself a bit more seriously. I like it. I really like this song. I think it may be my favourite, which is weird, being the last song, and not particularly one of the heaviest songs, but I just love the melodies in this. It's really good. Yeah, I love despite what you may assume of me, I actually am a big fan of synthwave. And this is the most synth-wavy song on this album. I would be really down for a whole album that sounds like Neon, like the whole way through. With some silly bits in there, sure, but if they stuck with this tone and made a whole album, probably not the smartest move, because they've already established how and who they are in 2022 at least. So to do that, I think, would be unwise, but I would love it. So, Tekkno by Electric Callboy. I've whizzed through this. I mean, the album is quite short, but I probably got through it so quickly because I don't have any real stories about it, because it's so recent and I have nothing from like my formative years or whatever to go into. I love this album. I really do. There's really nothing bad that I can say about it, and I know I say that about a lot of albums, and of course I do specifically pick albums that I like. I'm not going to just sit here and go, this is shit, this is shit, this is shit. Although maybe I should do that one day. That might be quite funny. Despite the mixed reception that I feel like it received, I'm all in on this album. I think it's phenomenal. Again, in terms of metalcore, really different and catches my attention. What am I going to give this? I'm going to give it, I'm feeling like an 8.5. That might seem low, and it is kind of low because I have absolutely zero nostalgia for it right now because it's so recent. It does remind me of certain things. Maybe in another 10 years it'll be a 10, because then I'll have some nostalgia for it. But at this point, I just think it's really good. Comparing to other albums that I've been listening to for in excess of 20 years, this is never going to be as high as those, because it doesn't mean as much to me. It's not that significant. I just think it's really good. So yeah, I think an 8.5. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment. Most importantly, comment now. Start doing it. Let me know your thoughts before this video goes on to something else that YouTube thinks you'll like. Yeah, I've been really enjoying the responses I've been getting back from you in the comments, and so keep it up. It keeps me engaged and wanting to keep doing this. If you are subscribed already, thank you very much. Nice of you to be here. And if you're new, thank you also for clicking on this video. I guess you like the thumbnail. I make good thumbnails, I guess. I've not thought of how to end videos yet, so I'm just going to say, go away.
Pump it.